Your Honor, Jimmy Haller here to serve the defense as baseball is back. Let's get it.
Baseball is out of here.
Hello, folks. Today I'll be doing my Phillies predictions for this upcoming season. That includes the bullpen, the starting rotation, and the lineup of how they're going to go and who's going to go where, and how I think about the Phillies of this upcoming season and why they will be making the playoffs and maybe the World Series if they have it in themselves. They don't, but let's see if they can get it. Let's see if they can. So let's start our presentation as by me for the 2022 season. Now this logo, it did not turn out well. I tried to spread it out, but it didn't turn out well. So the Phillies president and guy who's in charge basically is Dave Dombrowski. He came over from the Boston Red Sox. He's known for his title. For the Red Sox, the Tigers, he's helped build contending teams, and he has won World Series before. So Dave has the experience for bringing up contending teams and how he's done. Our Phillies manager, Joe Girardi. This is going to be his third season with the Phillies. First season was like during COVID. Phillies didn't win at all because it was out of the bloom, 60 games. I don't really want to count that. Next year, he gives the Phillies a winning record, but it was disappointing because they only went 2 games over 500, which they should have won more. They should have made the playoffs last year. And watching that team last year, it felt like kind of the playoffs. Some moments where they were playing against the Mets when Zach Wheeler was on the mound, or when it was against the Pirates. I remember when I went to the Phillies last year, it was amazing to watch the Phillies do well, but they blew their chance. They blew it. So the Phillies, they have to get to it, and hopefully this is the year. So Joe, your final year, I will say. If you get the Phillies to the playoffs, you stay. If you don't, you're out. I think he's on the hot seat right now, folks. So Joe, you better do it. Do what you did with the Yankees against us. Just help us win the World Series, make us to the playoffs. Help us get there. All right, let's go with the pros for this team. So the Phillies added some new guys in this offseason, starting with Nick Castellanos and Kyle Schwarber. Both those guys are very good at slugging. They're not that good on defense-wise, but look at their hitting. They averaged over 30 home runs last season. They got over 30 home runs last season, which is pretty impressive when you look at it. And looking straight out of the outfield, where it's going to be, you have Harper in right field. You got to have the mix of Schwarber and Nick in left field, and then whoever's going to play DH is going to alternate. So Harper is going to play DH sometimes, and Nick's going to play right field, and then it's going to alternate with when Kyle goes into DH, Nick will play left field, and then that's what they did in all season. We're looking at center field. This is going to be a tough debate to see who's going to get the job. It was going to go to Odubel Herrera, I was going to put, but Odubel got hurt, and he's going to be out the first 4 weeks of the season, so that's not good. And the Phillies traded Adam Hazley the other day to the White Sox to clear some outfield room. So basically, there's 2 guys left, 2 guys. And those 2 guys are Mickey Moniak, the former #1 overall pick for the Phillies back in 2017, and Matt Burling, who is a very good assistant hitter, and he has gotten a lot of RBIs and has done very well in the spring training. So he's a solid guy off the bench. To me, for right now, I think it's Matt Burling because he's done a lot better than Mickey Moniak has done. And Mickey Moniak, he definitely has improved himself a lot better than last year, but you like to see him do so much better, like Bryson Stott's doing right now, which we'll get to in a moment. But I think the outfield is going to be pretty great. Yeah, the defense is not great for the outfield, but it's solid. It's solid of the hitting, so I'll take that. I'll take the hitting over the defense any day. Then going to the starting rotation for the Phillies. You got Zach Wheeler, who came off a Cy Young year. Aaron Nola, he struggled a little bit, but he's going to bounce back. He's going to bounce back, folks. I'm calling right now. He's going to bounce back. Then you got an all-right pitcher, Zach Eflin, he's had his moments of being solid for the Phillies. That's what he is. He's he's above average guy, I'll say. He's not an elite like Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler. He's not like those guys. He's above average pitcher, that's solid, and I'll take that for the Phillies any day. I'll take that. But Zach, he's definitely got to prove. He's coming off the injury. He's trying to progress as the starting rotation as of right now is trying to get through some injuries. Zach Eflin, hopefully he'll get back, hopefully soon. So the Phillies have that good starting rotation because looking at a starting rotation, it's going to be pretty good for the Phillies. And then you have your 4th guy. It's going to be Ranger Suarez, who came off the bullpen last year for the Phillies, came out of the bullpen, just started games for the Phillies, and he performed fantastic. He was having a great ERA, didn't allow many runs, had many strikeouts, groundouts. He made the Phillies do so much better when Rangers was on the mound. He helped the Phillies not give up that many runs, and he's a great starting rotation. I think he's a solid guy you can rely on too. I think he'll do very well for the Phillies this season upcoming, as long as he gets back, which he's going to play in spring training a little bit, and then he's going to come in the fourth game for the Phillies when they play the New York Mets. So Ranger, he's progressing as time goes from his injury. Then to wrap it up with starting rotation, number 5, the last one, is Kyle Gibson. The Phillies acquired Kyle Gibson last year against with the Texas Rangers in a deal. What that did for the Phillies, he became a solid guy right away for the Phillies. Like, he was doing very well. He made it to the All-Star last season, but as it got down to the wire, he did not help the Phillies do fantastic. But he was great when I went to the Phillies last year, when I watched him hit a home run, which is very rare for a pitcher to hit. And it was fantastic to see that occur. And Kyle, yeah, he can be solid. I think he's up there with Zach Eflin of that range, being above average, but it's not like an elite pitcher, but above average is going to help you win some games. Not all the time when it has get down to the wire, but some of the games, yeah, it's going to help you out. I'd rather take that than a very bad pitcher. So look at the starting rotation. I think it's a very good starting rotation as long as everyone gets healthy and Nola gets back into his rhythm. I think the Phillies starting rotation is going to be pretty fantastic. And Zach Wheeler hopefully comes back from his injury of dealing with some soreness in his shoulder. Hopefully he gets back around track so the Phillies don't have to miss any time with him. So that's starting rotation. Going to the infield. It's not great for the defense. It's not. For me, just looking at this, it's very wide open in the infield. First base is obviously going to be Rhys Hoskins with the Phillies last year. And the hitting, obviously. His defense wasn't great, but it improved. You see nice plays last year. He improved a bit from when he was. Then looking at second base, you have Mean Gene Segura, who's a consistent hitter for the Phillies, and he was an all-star last year. He played like an all-star. He was playing very consistent for the Phillies offense, and that's something I look for in some baseball players, is how consistent the players are, the hitting. Instead of a dude most sluggers that hit a home run or they strike out. That's what it is. That was Ryan Howard. And I love Ryan Howard for a Phillies fan. You can especially know, whenever he struck out, most people say, oh, he's taking a golf swing. Yeah, well, that golf swing helped you out a couple times, guys, where he really smashed it into the ballpark of a home runs. I like to see the consistency go up more. Segura gets on base a lot, so it helps the Phillies. And as long as he keeps doing what he's doing last year, and that defense, he was playing well too. If he keeps performing like he did last year, Phillies are going to be good at second base. Shortstop, that is going to be a tough debate to see how it's going to go. So you have Didi Gregorius and you have Bryson Stott. Now, Bryson Stott has put up a great spring training campaign of doing so well for the Phillies. I think he's going to do very good for the Phillies. The question is, when will he come up for the Phillies and start at shortstop? That's the question. Now you look at Didi Gregorius. He didn't perform well last season. He didn't. First year he comes in for the Phillies. He performed fantastic for the Phillies. Didi did have a good spring trade, but not like Bryson. I think Didi's going to get it because Joe has a good relationship with Didi. And I think the experience, Joe trusts Didi more than Bryson to start out with. But I think Bryson, he's going to get his call-ups very soon, and he's going to play in shortstop. I definitely think he's going to play it, as Didi does not do well. Bryson's going to step up there and do very well for the Phillies, because I think he's a very good prospect for the Phillies, and he's the best one. As of right now, I think, in the minor league system. The hitting, boy, that hitting is going to be very good for the Phillies, because I mentioned before, Schwarber and Nick, they had over 30 home runs, and then you got MB3, Bryce Harper, MV3, baby. You got him, who did fantastic for the Phillies last year. He was great. Then you look at Rhys Hoskins. He was getting 25, 30 home runs. Then you look at Alec Boehm, which is another guy for third base, and he wasn't great, which we'll see if he ever does well. But if he gets back to where he is, he'll get to it, which I don't think he's going to do how he was in his first year, but I think he can turn around. So you might have a guy up there if you really want to consider it. You got Gene Segura, who's a consistent hitter. All these guys, just look at the Phillies team. They have great hitters. The defense is just terrible though. But the hitters, I think it's going to be very good for the Phillies, and I think they can average 2-3 runs a game. I think that's going to be it for the Phillies. If they want to win the games, in order to win games, you have to score runs. And in order to score runs, you have to get players on base. In order to get players on base, you have to hit or walk. And that's the key as you look in Moneyball with Billy Beane in the Oakland Athletics when that happened. That was the strategy, and it worked out for them the regular season. Postseason, it didn't work out, but the regular season, it worked out for them, and they made the playoffs and helped them go on that 20-game winning streak too. So anything can happen in baseball. Hopefully the Phillies make the playoffs. That's the question. Now the needs. The worst part about this team, which has, I will say, the main problem for us has been the bench and the prospects for the past 2 years. That's been the problem for us because Phillies have not had a good minor league system in forever. They really haven't. They have not had like most of their guys that they think that we're going to do very well turn out to be a bust. That has been the case in recent years. Right now for the bench, it's just there's really no one. Like, yeah, you have Matt Burling, you have Moniak. You wish you could have kept Brad Miller from with the Phillies last year. He performed well, and the Phillies let him go. So the bench, I think the Phillies need some more bench pieces in order to help the Phillies get more depth in case someone gets hurt, which we don't want that to. But if that scenario happens, the Phillies got to be ready for that situation for a pinch runner or a pinch hitter. Phillies got to be ready for that. So that's going to be a concern. I like to see the Phillies get a depth position. They already did that by re-signing Suarez to a minor league deal, who was great with the Phillies last year, solid on defense, had good hitting, and I think he's a good bench piece for the Phillies for pinch hitting, definitely. The defense. This is what the main concern was when you're going looking at this team. The main concern, because you look at all the statistics, matrix of however you want to put it when you look at data analytics for baseball defense on the Phillies. Almost the entire team, the outfield, infield, catcher, pitcher, have negative numbers. They have one of the worst defenses in the league. That's the concern. Now, there are two good defenders on this team. JT Realmuto for the Phillies, and you have Bryce Harper. Those are the only two guys because Realmuto is the best catcher in MLB. Harper, he just won MVP, and he's a great defender too. You see that cannon from the outfield and just go, he throws it from the outfield, gets him out. So those are two guys I will say that are very good on defense for the Phillies. But everyone else, you can go look at Didi Gregorius was the main example last year. Oh, I also forgot to mention Gene Segura. He was good at defense. But back to Didi, he was not good. He made so many errors with the Phillies last year. He kept making so many. And it just hurt the Phillies so much. It just kept hurting them, and hurting them. Then you look at Alec Bohm. He was one of the worst third basemen in the league. He was just terrible. The outfield, Kyle Schwarber, he's not great. He's like it's not fantastic. And then you got the center fields, like no one really has that arm back there. They're fast, but they're not. First base, Reese is like, all right, he's getting somewhere, but Phillies are not a good defense. They really aren't. And this will be a problem for the Phillies if they can adjust, make those easy pop outs, fly balls, and ground balls. If they can make those easy ones and turn, then the Phillies should be good. If they can do the simplest things, then they should be good. Now, if it's in the gap corner, then that's going to be an issue. Like a player hits it in the gap and they're running, all the players running around the bases. Phillies trying to get the ball quick and throw it back in. That defense will be fine with that, where that offense and the pitching are going for Phillies. They can make those simple stuff, then they should have it. The biggest thing that has occurred for the Phillies for many years, and Phillies fans, you guys know this, we've had one of the worst bullpens I can remember. They have never had a good bullpen, really. Last time I remember they had a good bullpen was back in the 2011 run with the Phillies when they won the NL East 5 times in a row. That was the last time the Phillies were good at bullpen. Every year you had to closer. He'd blow it out. Hector Neris, he was solid. He wasn't great, but he was just solid. He's like, all right, I'll take it. Like, he would perform those games. There was really no one because every time you had the bullpen come in, they would just mess it up for the Phillies. Like, when their offense, like when the Phillies had a huge lead, it was like very close and the Phillies were like 1 out away. The Phillies would blow it in the bullpen. This has been the concern, is the Phillies must do better in the bullpen. They have to have a good bullpen, like an average, above average bullpen. If they can have that, then they should be fine. But I don't think it's going to happen because the Phillies have so many struggles. And when the closer comes in for the Phillies, they got to perform the job. When you're looking at the bullpen entirely, you got the 7-8s. They're going to be good. The Phillies are always great with the 7-8 bullpen pitchers. The 9th inning is the concern for the Phillies. It has been the issue for them for so many years. It has been it, and you just hope they fix it. So that's one of the biggest issues that's happened in recent years, and I think the Phillies really need to improve on that. Center field, as I mentioned before, is basically between Matt Burling and Moniak. That's the only part of how it's going to go for the Phillies. That's the Phillies' needs. That's the bad part of our team. Then looking into this starting lineup of how it's going to be projected for the Phillies coming opening day against the Athletics. You got, in the first one, you got Kyle Schwarber playing DH. He was very good with the Red Sox last year, number 1 spot, get on base all the time or hit a home run. He was very good with the Red Sox last year. You can go look at those highlights. Then you got Nick Castellanos. 2, I put him at because I think Nick is going to have that power. He has it. I think he can perform very well for the Phillies. I think he's going to get it. The other person I could see this happening for the Phillies is Gene Segura, who was very good at number 2 last year. So I think it could go back and forth to see who's going to get it. Nick, I think he's going to get those home runs. He's going to get more bases. We'll get to Gene in a couple of minutes, but with Nick, he was very great slugger and gets on base a lot. So I think where Kyle and Nick are, I think that's great. Then you play Harper where he was last year. MV3, baby, MV3. And he was fantastic for the Phillies. You got the 3 spot there. JT, he was consistent for the Phillies. He was better on defense than he was offense. I'll take it, but he's got to improve a little bit more, but I'll take it since he was very good on offense. JT playing at 4, I think it's still good for us. Then you got number 5 in the hole, Rhys Hoskins. Problem with Rhys is he wasn't consistent last year. That was the main issue. If he was consistent last year of how he was in his first year with the Phillies, then he would have over 35 home runs easily. But Rhys, I think he will help the Phillies where he's at. He's going to help them out like halfway through, and you're looking at the first 4 guys who are going to get on base easily. So Rhys is going to hopefully knock some runs in. I think he can be great for the Phillies if he's solid. If he is consistent and solid, the Phillies are going to do well with that. Then number 6 is Gene Segura. We'll put him at. Now, Gene, I think it's going to be at 6 because of looking at all the power hitter. I think Joe wants to put so much power at the top to get those runs right off the bats. Gene is the consistent hitter. He's going to be that cleanup hitter. So the Phillies are like on bases loaded. Gene's going to be the guy to get those guys home. He's going to be those guys home because he was consistent last year, as you can see, and he was perfect for the Phillies. He played like an all-star. Number 7, this is like the weaker spot of the lineup, I will say. And this is where it goes like down for me of where it was so great for the Phillies like lineup and then when it goes terrible. Number 7, I will have Didi Gregorius. Didi, I think he will hopefully he'll rebound. And that's why I put him at because he was never consistent and he didn't have it. But if he has it in himself of being consistent, if he doesn't show up, he's done. And Bryson comes in 1 through 7. Easily, I'll take it. But Didi, I don't trust him that much. I think he could rebound, but it's just a matter of consistency if he can do it. So that would be helpful if he could do it. Number 8, Alec Bohm. Him, he just needs that consistency. You saw that struggles last year. If he turns it, if he gets it, he's not favored is what I've been told. He's not favored to get the third base job and start in the lineup. If he doesn't get it, then he's done. But right now, I think he needs to improve. I think he has to improve. He has got to improve because we saw last year, wasn't consistent, didn't get on base, struggled a lot. Alec Bohm coming in with the new hitter coach who helped Kyle Schwarber when he was with the Nationals do very well when the Nationals won the World Series. This new guy should help Alec Bohm very much. He should help him get back on his pace, and you hope it does. But with Alec Bohm right now, it's kind of hard to see where he's going to go, how he's going to go on offense and defense because he hasn't been consistent on both of them. So that hurts the Phillies a bit. We have to see how he does at third base. Otherwise, he could change of the whole thing. You could put maybe Bryson if the Phillies are really going to risk it of playing one of their best prospects at third base. He's never played at third base before, but we have to see if that happens. Then to wrap it up in the 9 hole, last spot of the lineup, is Matt Burling. Now, I mentioned earlier, he's playing center field. He's probably going to get the job. He's been consistent in the spring training. I think he can maybe be consistent. He gets on base once in a while. I don't think he's not going to be like an all-star. He's not going to be that. He can be like a kind of a good bench piece like Brad Miller was for the Phillies last year. I think he helps the Phillies like maybe get something out there instead of but look at this lineup. You look from 1 through 6. You look at that. That is a great lineup for the Phillies of seeing how many guys that you see of sluggers and who've got on base. It is fantastic to see the Phillies have that lineup from 1 to 6, 6 out of 9. I will take that any day. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect. Lineups are never perfect. I will take the majority, 6 out of 9. I'll take that in a heartbeat for the Phillies. I will take that, and that's going to be a very good offensive lineup. The Phillies should be averaging at least 2 to 3 runs per game. I think the Phillies are going to do that very much. With this season, I think the Phillies are going to have a good offensive game, averaging at least 2 to 3 runs, and they should get there. They should get it. So hopefully this offense, from what it is on paper, hopefully turns it into the fields because it doesn't matter what it is on paper. It matters what happens on the fields. So Phillies lineup, show up. You guys got to show up to score some runs and win those ball games to make it to the playoffs. Come on. Then look at the starting rotation. We got Aaron Nola, who's going to be probably the number 1 guy, even though Zach Wheeler is definitely better. But Joe's going to trust Aaron Nola for the start of it because 1, Nola has won on opening days. Second, Zach Wheeler is hurt a little bit, so that is the issue. And Joe's got to trust Aaron Nola. So hopefully Nola comes back and he's the consistent guy he is. And then Wheeler, who was Cy Young, he was great for the Phillies, and he's dealing with flow injury, so hopefully he gets back on time. Eflin, I've also mentioned, above average. Kyle Gibson, above average. Ranger Suarez, a solid guy, I will put him. And then looking at this, I think this is a solid rotation. I honestly think this is a solid rotation for the Phillies. I think it is when you look at it. They're going to get you some games, and they're going to help. And looking at this, Phillies offensive line, if they perform how they are, this starting rotation, it's going to be good for the Phillies. If they're going to win on Zach Wheeler days, Nola, it's basically gonna be for the Phillies. They're gonna give up like 3 runs. That's the rotation at most, usually. Like that's what it is gonna be at the lower part of the rotation, but it's a solid rotation. So they should have some good games. So if the Phillies have it in themselves as a starting rotation, they should be fine. And these guys good at their jobs. So hopefully the Phillies starting rotation is good and solid, which I think it will be for the National League, especially for the Phillies trying to get to the playoffs. So I think this is what you need as a team. You need starting rotation, lineup, and bullpen. Phillies got 2 of those. They don't got the third one though. They don't, because we've looked at this bullpen. Terrible. Now, the Phillies have made a lot of adjustments. They let some guys go. Hector Neris was the main guy. They let Archie Bradley go because he didn't do anything last year for the Phillies at all, performing well. Main thing I liked about the Phillies offseason was getting the Dodgers relief pitcher, Corey Neville, performed well for the Dodgers last year. And he's going to be the closer most likely for the Phillies, and I think he can do well. All these guys have the experience of closing out games. But I think it's going to be Corey. Corey, I think he's got it. He has to have it. I think he'll be a solid closer for the Phillies if he performs like it and doesn't blow it. I say he's the best guy out of that bullpen as of right now. Now, it's not a good bullpen. You got Corey, who was solid last year. Brad Hand, he was let go by the Nationals during the middle of the season, who wasn't good. Earlier in his career, he was good for in his pitching. He pitched for the Cleveland Guardians. He pitched with the Nationals, I just mentioned. Pitched for Blue Jays. He's had his numbers at a 3-point ERA at least. So hopefully he gets it. Hopefully he gets that. His WHIP was over a 1.40. All right. But it's just he can get back to where he was before he can maybe get it. And then you have Jose Alvarado, who he was good sometimes, but he wasn't great all the time. And then you got Connor Brogdon. He's hurt a little bit right now, so that's a bit of concern. Then you have Bailey Falter to wrap it up for the Phillies, who was good. He had some moments last year for the Phillies, but you got to see more. You got to see more consistency with these pitchers and see them close out the innings. You cannot give up those 3 runs, home runs. You cannot do that. That's what happens with the Phillies for the past few years. COVID season for the Phillies, that was the main reason the Phillies didn't make the playoffs, because of the bullpen. Because when you looked at it, they had the starting rotation, they had the lineup, which wasn't great as it is now. They had the bullpen. It was terrible. It cost the Phillies at least 30 games from not making the postseason. It was terrible for the Phillies. So, Phillies bullpen, can they just do the job? Just do the job. You guys can give up a run or 2, but just help the Phillies win. Just play your game. That's all you guys got to do. The Phillies bullpen is the main weakness, I will say, for the Phillies out of the entirety. Hopefully, it's not that bad as it was last year. Hopefully, it can turn around. That's the biggest thing for me of the Phillies. So, fix that bullpen. As you see Brad Lidge right there, get that Brad Lidge back. We need that Brad Lidge bullpen back, and then we get to it. Phillies got to fix that bullpen once again, as I mentioned. The defense, as we mentioned before, it was terrible. As you see in this photo here, you had the 2 guys collide with each other who couldn't make a simple catch of a fly ball. Then you had Rhys Hoskins in that exact game, couldn't make a simple pop out. Couldn't make it. You got to fix that defense. You got to make those simple, as I mentioned before, make those simple ground balls, fly balls, pop outs. You got to make those and not make those errors. You cannot make that. If you're disciplined, they're going to do it. The Phillies defense is going to be fine. It's going to be fine if they make those simple stuff for the Phillies. You need the flying Hawaiian back, Shane Victorino, baby. If the Phillies get that fast center fielder back, it's going to be good for the Phillies. Moniak, he's not that fast. Burling, he's consistent. So I would like a fast center fielder who can run deep in the outfield and cut from a person trying to get a double into a single. I would want that and get to the warning track and catch the ball. That is something we need. We honestly need a fast center fielder. That's something I've missed of the flying Hawaiian. So hopefully the Phillies can get that back. Hopefully they can get that back. And so to wrap it up for the Phillies, once again, for the defense of my case of the jury, Phillies will win the World Series and make the playoffs. Yeah. Woo! We win the World Series. No, that's not how I think it's going to go. I think the Phillies are definitely going to make the playoffs. But if they perform at their job, do what they were supposed to do, bullpen, do the job, offense, go electric like the Phillies' old lineup back in the day. Starting rotation, be that 2011 Phillies with that starting rotation. But we'll have to see and wait for the Phillies. Hopefully they can get it. That is what the Phillies have to do. Make the playoffs. That's my goal for the Phillies. I don't care if they lose in the first round. I honestly don't care. It's been too long. It has been too long since the Phillies have not made the playoffs. Just make the dang playoffs. That's all I care anymore. That's all. Just give me my wish, Phillies. Just make the playoffs and you can lose in the first round. I don't care. Judge, I rest my case. The Phillies will be making the playoffs this season, Judge. I think they will be. So I rest my case, folks. I rest my case. But that is all I got for you guys today. Thank you once again for listening to my presentation, my predictions for the Phillies. I definitely think the Phillies have a great chance to make the postseason. Not the World Series, I don't think they are, but postseason, I think it's definitely great for the Phillies to make it because, one, the 3 wildcard spot new rule for the Phillies. 3 teams are now allowed to make it in the National League and the American League. Just make one of them. That's like, it's easier for the Phillies to make the playoffs now. So just make it, please. I'm tired of this. Just make this. Can you guys here, make this, please. Honestly, can they make it? That's my question. But guys, thank you for tuning in once again. Leave a like on this video. If you love the Phillies, really leave a like and comment of your thoughts of the lineup, starting rotation, bullpen. What do you guys think about my predictions? How do you think the Phillies are going to do in this upcoming season? Do you think they're going to make the playoffs or no? Comment below. I'd like to hear if they're making the playoffs or not. And subscribe to the channel, guys. We're at 160, 40 subscribers away from 200. That's the goal right now. 200. Let's get to it. Tell your friends. Tell your family members. Tell everyone to subscribe to Jeremy Haller's YouTube channel. Subscribe. And you guys can go check out my other videos of what I've done. Baseball's back. So guys, get ready for the opening day season.